Hello everyone, Just Going here and welcome back to another Planet Zoo tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a billboard sky dome, as you can see right over here. So this is all made out of billboards and it's a dome and you can see a sky, wow. So as you notice, this is not a Planet Zoo quick tricks tutorial because this is not really a quick trick. It's actually going to take us quite a while, but I'll take you through every step of the process on how to make one of these. And yeah, these are really cool, probably a very nice use for penguin habitats and stuff like that, or just anything you want that needs some of a sort of a gradient like that. So we're actually going to get started in the game. We're not going to start with the billboards quite yet because we don't know how many billboards we are going to need. So if you want to make a dome just like this one, that's what we're going to do the tutorial with. But at the end I'll also show some other types of domes that you can probably make with this. But we're going to start off with a mud pillar because we are just going to use our classic mud pillar dome making technique. And we're going to take a 8-meter lit billboard. I think this is a pretty nice size, and you want to use the lit variant because the unlit variant doesn't look so good. And we're going to turn on position snap so that we snap to the middle of that pillar, and then we're going to put our billboard on the side like this, because we are going to start off making a nice big circle, which is going to be the top of our dome. So we're going to put a thing down like this, then we're going to mirror it. We're going to make a huge dome. And so now we're going to take both of these billboards and rotate them around, turn off angle snap. And what's really important is that you try to line these up as well as you can. Of course, you don't want to leave a gap, but yeah, you want the top of the one billboard to be pretty much exactly at the bottom of the other. So right now they are overlapping a little bit. I'm going to try to see if I can fix that. If you put your mouse further to the bottom of the screen, it's going to make it a little bit easier. You're going to get a bit more control. I think that is the best we can do. So we're just going to continue doing this until we have about a quarter circle. So we're just going to get a bunch more. Make sure you always select every billboard so that the rotation point stays in the center where the mud pillar is. One more time. There we go, that's a lot better. Alright, so now that we have that shape, we're gonna flip it on its side, do it on the world axis so that you kind of stay around. And if all is done correctly, you can just get rid of this and get rid of that. And now we should be able to just mirror this and it should line up relatively well. Doesn't line up perfectly by the looks of it, but I think it's probably fine. Let's see what happens if we start to rotate this around. Just as an experiment to see if our dome has been made correctly. So there's a ever so slight gap in our dome, which we can fix. But the easiest way to fix that gap is by just making it slightly smaller. You're gonna have to experiment with the size of your dome or whatever shape you want. But let's keep it at this for now. So because I put a little bit closer, this should all line up pretty well right now. And they do. So now we have a closed dome. But we don't have the billboards yet, and there's also a hole in the ceiling, which is fine. That's actually something you want. You want to keep a little hole in the ceiling. You don't want the last bit of your dome to be flat, because it's going to look a bit weird if you do. So make sure that the last bit is always angled upwards a little bit, and then you can just seal off that hole with like a square billboard, which we'll do at the end. So now that we have our dome, we're actually going to go back to just having one slice, because if we have an entire dome of black billboards, we're going to have to set our image on each of those billboards, which isn't going to be fun. And now we're only going to have to do it for this strip, and then we can just copy it around. So the next step is to count how many billboards you have. So this is a pretty big one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 billboards. So for our dome over there, I had 7, but this one is 11. So that means that we're going to need 11 images of a gradient, and that gradient has to flow from image to image. So how are we going to make that? Well, we're going to get an image editing program. I'm using paint.net. I'll leave a link in the description. I highly recommend this program. It's got a lot of features. It's pretty intuitive and easy to use. And it's free. I don't know if I mentioned it already. But also the images that it outputs, the image that it exports, look nice on billboards. Sometimes images can look very bright, but that's not an issue with this program, at least not for me so far. So a good resolution for your billboard is probably something like 720p, so that's 1280 by 720. But of course this is only one billboard, and in my example I have 11. So to make our gradient, we're actually going to do 11 times the height, so 720, and this 11 of course needs to be whatever number of billboards you have. So if you want to make a gradient that has 20 billboards, you're going to have to do 20 times 720p. If you have only like 5 billboards, you're going to do 5 times 720. But I'm going to do 11 because I have 11 billboards, so that's 7,920. So we're going to make a new file that is, what was it again? 11,000? No, it was, what was it? Where's my calculator? Did I close my calculator? I'm an idiot. Right, so it's 7,920. So that's going to be our height. 7,920. And the width is going to be 1280. Right, so that is our file. So this is going to be our full gradient. This is the full height of our dome slice. So now we're going to grab a gradient tool, such as this one. And of course you can use that to make a gradient. And that's pretty much done. Of course you're going to have to pick a nice color of blue. I used 4D8 7DD, as well as on the other side B1C FF9. To get a nice skyline, it's nice if you go from a lighter blue, or sometimes almost white even, to a darker blue, and that's going to give you that nice sky feeling. I wouldn't recommend using white because it ends up being very bright on the billboards. Also, what I recommend is that you lower the brightest color all the way to the bottom, whereas you leave the darker color a bit more like this. That is going to make it so that you have a very blue sky at the top and a nice gradient going up to that. So I'm going to do something like this. If you were to put it at the top, the sky is going to look very bright and not all that blue. So that's why I'm going to put it somewhere around there. Hit enter to confirm. And of course you can use any program that has a gradient editor to do this. So yeah, that is our gradient. So this is going to be all of these billboards. So now we're going to have to split it up into many different images. And I found a website that does it for you. It's called Split Image Online, but sadly the images that come out of this website are very bright in the game. So I just mentioned that sometimes images aren't very compatible with Planet Zoo for some reason. They end up looking very bright. Yeah, that's what happens with that program. So I'm just going to do it manually and show you how to do it manually in paint.net. It takes a while, but the outcome is pretty nice. So before we get started, I just want to save this thing. I'm going to put it in Skydome tutorial, and I'm going to call this Skydome tutorial underscore gradient full. So now we are going to split this up. So what I'm going to do is image, canvas size, And we're going to make the height 720p. And I'm going to put the anchor at the top. And what that's going to do is make it so that the bottom of the image gets cut away. So now we're left with only the top of that image. And we can save this as layer number 1. So we're going to do SDT, standing for Skydome Tutorial. And I'm going to call it layer 1.png. I recommend putting a little abbreviation or something in front of the file names that you put in your billboards, because they're going to make them a lot easier to find. So this is our top layer, layer 1. And now we're going to have to go and do this for every little layer. So we're going to undo so that we have our full image again. Then I'm going to go ahead and image, canvas size. And now we want to cut off that little top. So we actually want the height to be our full document size minus 720. And I don't think this program actually allows me to do that. Nope. So we're going to have to calculate that ourselves. So we're going to have to do minus 720. So we have 7. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's 10 times 720. So there we go. And yeah, we're going to put the anchor at the bottom so that it cuts off the top. Pretty important. So now we have our image, and that image that we just created, layer 1, is no longer inside of this. So we can do the same thing we just did. Put the anchor back at the top, make it 720p. Bam, this is layer 2. And now we're going to have to do this for every layer of our thing. So if you have 5 layers, you're going to have to do this 5 times. If you have 20 layers, you're going to have to do this 20 times. So I'm going to undo again, image, canvas size. Going to have to do this minus 720, 6480. And we're going to put the anchor at the bottom so that it cuts off the top. So I'm just going to speed up this process in editing, and I'll see you once I have all images ready. Alright, I just made a mistake. I accidentally saved over layer 8, so this is going to be an interesting one. So what is now layer 8 is actually supposed to be layer 9. So I'm going to have to think about how to fix that. So I'm going to undo. And that means that this has layer 9 on top, so this has layer 8 on top. So we're going to have to go here and canvas size 720p, cut off the bottom. This is the correct layer 8. Alright, so I'm gonna undo that, and now we can just keep going. So now it needs to be, oops, 1440. Alright, and that is the last layer, so it's going to be layer 11. I just realized I made a little mistake, probably because of the way Planet Zoo sorts things. I'm guessing that these are not going to be ordered properly, but just to try it out, we're going to copy these and put them in our user media folder, where you store all your billboards. So we have the tutorial, layer 1 through 11. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is not going to show up properly. No, see, it starts with 1, then 10, then whatever. So if you want to solve that, you just need to make sure that you put zeros in front of everything. This is just to keep your billboard folder organized, because it can get messy pretty quickly if you have a lot of billboards. So I think it's good practice to take good care of your billboards folder. So let's refresh that, and now they're now they're ordered properly. So we're gonna go ahead and boom, layer 1. a layer 2, a layer 3, layer 4, layer 5, layer 6, and I can already tell that there is one little problem, but it's not a big problem. But you can see we have all these stripes, right? What could possibly be causing that, you might wonder. I did everything right. Were we at 9, 10? Yeah, we were. Don't worry, this happened to, so far it happened to me every time I tried this. I don't know how I keep messing it up. It's pretty much out of your control, because you can't know until you put the pictures in. But, oops, all these billboards are upside down. So we're just gonna have to go ahead and, hello, game. We're gonna have to go ahead and flip each and every one of these. And that's gonna make them look just right. So these top ones, because they're all one solid color, you probably wouldn't actually need a different billboard for all of these. So we have 1, 2, 3, I think those are all the same. So I could probably use number 3 for all of these. And nothing would be different, right? Yeah. Which can be useful, and at a certain point you don't really have a gradient anymore. In fact, I think I'm gonna use that actually right now, because, I don't know, I kind of feel like I want a bit more blue. I think there's a bit too much white, so I'm actually gonna just put number 9 over here, and we're gonna put number 8 over here, 7, 6, 5, 4. And of course, if you do this, you actually, I would have only had to have made, so I didn't need 11, 10, 1 or 2. Because, yeah, I'm not using any of those pictures now. So, could have saved myself some time. Looks like, of course, I am, wait. There you go. Yeah, I like that a lot more. So, didn't have to make as many pictures as I did. But oh well, you live, you learn. You can kind of keep that in mind yourself as well. What kind of gradient do I want? I will share the images I made for this with you guys in the comments. So if you think you can just use my images and it'll look fine for you, then be my guest. But we are gonna go ahead and finish this dome over here. So there we go. So now we have a gradient dome. And what you can also do, of course, is if you had, say, this shape, let's get rid of these. Say you wanted like a tunnel sort of dome. And of course you can just do the same thing and just copy these around. And now you have a sort of tunnel dome with a sky gradient. But this is not everything, because if you paid attention at the start, you can see some clouds. So how did I get those clouds on there? It's pretty simple actually, because of course we're already using billboards, so why not make some variants? So say we want a cloud over here, right there. This is layer number 7. So we're gonna go in paint.net. We're gonna get our layer 7 thing. I'm gonna open that, and I'm just gonna save that as layer 7 cloud. And then we're gonna go to Google, and we're gonna go Google image search for cloud images. And if you click transparent here, you're gonna get some nice results. You can also do color transparent over here. It's gonna make sure, Google is gonna make sure for you that all of these things are actually transparent. So we're gonna copy this cloud, it's a pretty nice cloud. And we're gonna go to paint.net. And I'm gonna make a new layer, paste that cloud in, make it a little bigger. The quality doesn't matter all that much. It's going to be pretty far away anyway. And now we're going to save that. So we merged the layers together, saved, and now we have a picture of a cloud on that same gradient. So if we put that in our user media folder, oh, it already is. Actually meant to make that in my other folder, but that's fine. So now we have layer 7 with cloud. If you go into here, refresh, bam, we have a cloud. And of course you can put anything you want on there. Clouds, I don't know, flying Santa, maybe some birds. Birds could look cool. Or a sun. Oh yeah, the hole. We're gonna fix that. So we're gonna put this at the world axis. We're just gonna move it around a lot. We're just gonna give that the same one, layer 3, because that one is just full on blue. Just flip that. And this is why you want the last layer to be... Wait, let's actually show it like this. This is why you want the last layer to be at an angle, so that you can kind of merge this one into it. Oops. So yeah, like that. So that fixes the hole. You can't even see it, it's just blue. So now we're completely stuck in here, and here we have our little cloud. Let's try a sun. Right, so I found this image, which I don't know if it will work. We're just gonna try. So let's say we want to put that sun pretty high up. Let's see. I'm actually just gonna put it on a on layer 3, which is full blue. So we're gonna open layer 3. We're gonna save it as a layer 3 sun, and then we're gonna put that sun on there. I'm just saving it before I put the sun on, just so that I don't accidentally save over the original file, and then suddenly there will be suns everywhere. So here we go, got a little sun. Gonna merge that on there, save, and now we should be able to go over here and put a sun there. Okay, that looks doesn't look that great, but you get the idea, right? So you can add your own images to it, and yeah, you are kind of limited to put them on these planes. Also got to make sure that if you put it on one that's like really high up, and this one is kind of gets cut off. So if we say we were to put our sun here, yeah, it gets cut off by the other billboards. So if you want to put something in these top layers, you're going to have to kind of make it a lot smaller and put it at the center of the image so that doesn't happen. I can of course move it around a bit to avoid it overlapping, but yeah. And now we have two suns. So of course, once you build something like this, you want to kind of put a different building around the outside to kind of clean up all of this stuff. And if you think this was too much work and you don't want that many layers, you can of course use a bigger billboard, which will require you to have less images, but it will be a bit more rough around the edges, so to say. I really like the 8-meter screen. I feel like is big enough to cover a huge area, but also small enough that you get a bit of a smooth transition. So yeah, that is gonna be it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you can make some awesome looking realistic domes this way. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in another video, stream, or whatever comes first. Bye bye.